What's up? What's up? What's up? Y'all know it's your favorite girl from the 504, your girl Ashley, bringing you another episode of Black Girl Interrupted Podcast. Happy Wednesday. I hope everyone is doing phenomenal today. I hope everyone is having an amazing day. But before I jump into tonight's conversation, I always have to do a mental health check-in. I need to make sure everyone is good. I haven't seen y'all in over a week. Well, so let me back up. So, yeah, it's been about 2 weeks. So, the week before last, we were without internet for like 3 days. Internet went out, I want to say like Tuesday, and we didn't get it back up until I want to say like Friday evening sometime. So, unfortunately, I could not do my podcast then. And then for those that are new, I did lose my dog last week, actually a week ago today. Um, I found my puppy in the backyard, dead. Um, and that's all I want to say about that regarding that. But other than that, I'm doing well. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling fantastic. I'm marvelous. But again, before I get started, I do like to do a mental health check-in because I need to make sure everyone is good. I hope everyone is having an amazing week thus far. So before we jump into tonight's conversation, I always like to play something empowering, something encouraging, something uplifting, to let you know that regardless of whatever it is that you're going through, you are strong enough to make it through. So here we go.
It's an urge. Truth be told, every champion has felt it. Every president has felt it. Every king has felt it. Every lion has felt it. Every winner has felt it. Every soldier has felt it. Every victorious person has felt it. The urge to quit. Don't you give up on your dream. I don't care if you don't have the money, you don't have the help, and you don't have the family for it, and you don't have the background for it, and you don't have the friends for it. Don't you give up on your dream. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. It may take you twice as long. You may have to take courses and classes. You might not read as fast. You might not move as quick. You might not have as much, but don't you quit. Don't you quit. Don't you quit. You do make a difference. You do make a difference. You do make a difference. As weak as you are, as tired as you are, as many mistakes as you made, you do make a difference. There is something they would lose if you were not there. There was something that they would miss if you were not there. You do make a difference. You do make a difference. You do make a difference. Keep hopping. It's for people that are trying to hop their way back home. Come hell or high water, doing the best they can with what they got. That's who we are, doing the best we can with what we got. And we may not break any ribbons and we may not get any trophies, but if we can learn how to hang on in there, we'll be all right. I will not lie to you, I feel like going on. But I have seen days I did not want to get out of bed, didn't want to put on clothes, and didn't even feel like brushing my teeth. I've seen days so dark that I just want to keep driving, and I didn't even care where I ended up or what you called me. They came, and they passed, and they came to pass. I kept the faith. I kept it. I lost a lot of stuff. I lost a lot of friends. I lost a lot of strength. I lost a lot of courage. I lost a lot of time. I lost a lot of money, but I kept down on my knees. I was still believing. Broke, I was believing. Lonely, I was believing. Betrayed, I was. If you lose a job, keep the faith. If you lose a spouse, keep the faith. If you bury your child, keep the faith. If you have to downsize, keep the faith. If you have to move in with your mama, keep the faith. If you're at your wit's end, keep the faith. If you have to catch the bus, keep the faith. If you have to thumb, keep the faith. If you get sick, keep the faith. If you lose your kidneys, keep the faith. If you got heart trouble, keep the faith. You might not get a new heart, but you got to keep your faith.
I think maybe I needed to hear that today. Everything that's been going on, I've always remained steadfast in my faith, and I've always kept the faith despite everything that I have endured, things that I continue to endure, things that I go through, my storms. But I still come out victorious. So, I want to say to everyone, no matter what it is that you're going through, keep the faith. Those storms don't last always, and y'all know that. Sometimes it's just a test. Sometimes we get overwhelmed, and I get it. I understand. You know, there are a lot of days where we just want to give up, a lot of days where we want to throw in the towel, but you can't give up, baby. You cannot give up. So, again, happy Wednesday. I hope everyone is having an amazing day. I hope your week has been great to you thus far. But tonight's conversation is very, very, very heavy. Hmm. Let me, because I told myself I was going to be able to do this. I was going to be able to have this conversation tonight because I myself have a black son. And I worry. Whenever he goes out and hangs with his friends, I worry because we are seeing far too many of our black boys that are going to hang out with their white friends and they're not making it back to us alive. In light of the news of Nolan Xavier Wells, I will touch on that next week. So tonight's conversation is Black men deserve to grow old. Mm. Black men deserve to grow old. Mm. I gotta pull it together because I said I was gonna be able to do this. And I can do it. July 4th, July 5th, we lost Nolan Xavier Wells. But he's not the only young man who has been out and outing with their Caucasian friends and have died. Hmm. This is rough. This is a very difficult, a very, 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 very heavy topic. Because I've noticed that when we have conversations like this, it's always, well, black men are killing other black men. We know that. Justice is also being served. But when it comes to the white people unaliving our black men, it's ruled as either a suicide or accident, and no one is ever held accountable. We're seeing all of that unfold right now. But I don't want to just talk about Nolan Xavier Wells. I want to speak about Daniel Irving. I want to talk about Daniel Irving, an 18-year-old that was out with some friends back in April of 2026, and his body was recovered in the water. There's been no media coverage, as always, when it comes to Black boys, Black girls, Black men, and Black women that go missing. There's always little to no media coverage. And I don't understand why. Do our lives not matter? Again, do our Black men not deserve the right to grow old? Do our young Black men not deserve the right to get married, have children, go on and live beautiful lives? Apparently not. So before we continue into the conversation, here's a little brief background on the death of Daniel Irving.
Tonight, the push for answers in the death of a North Texas teen. 3 months after the body of 18-year-old Daniel Irving was found in Lake Ray Hubbard, there's been an arrest in connection with the case. Our Jayla Washington breaks down the timeline of the last few months ahead of an update from attorneys tomorrow.
Photos from over the years are some of the few things 18-year-old Daniel Irving's family has left. The body of the honor roll high school senior, who was on the swim team, according to his family, was found here in Lake Ray Hubbard nearly 3 months ago. And hand in hand since losing him, his loved ones are desperate for answers.
As a mother, I knew something had happened to my child.
On April 13, Daniel's mother says 2 males who were her son's friends picked him up from their home to go fishing. She says she couldn't reach him shortly after.
I called and texted my son multiple times, and there was no reply. I was immediately alarmed.
The next day, on April 14th, she filed a missing persons report with the Rowlett Police Department. Daniel had left behind his driver's license and money, which made her even more worried. After police put out a community alert online on April 16th, Daniel's body was found in Ray Hubbard Lake on April 17th, 4 days after he went missing. Daniel's mom says police told her they couldn't ping his phone before then because of privacy laws.
They have been met with delays instead of accountability.
Civil rights advocacy groups Next Generation Action Network and Justice Seekers are now working with the family and have criticized how the Rowlett Police Department has handled the case. The groups say one of the people Daniel was with before he went missing came forward after his body was found and said what happened was an accident.
Daniel left a home with somebody, went out there, Lake Ray Hubbard, with somebody, but nobody called this mother, nor called 911.
Police arrested 19-year-old Lucas Roper on July 9th, nearly 3 months after Daniel's death, and charged him with tampering with evidence with the intent to ruin it.
And even if he did drown, why did it take you 4 or 5 days to say anything? And that's what the family is so disturbed about.
The Dallas Police Department has now taken over the investigation. Rowlett Police told NBC5 it was unable to discuss details while the investigation remains open.
We are only here to ask for truth.
Jayla Washington, NBC5.
The 19-year-old arrested is no longer listed as being in jail when we checked earlier today, and there was no attorney listed for him. Civil rights groups are now asking for transparency from Dallas PD as its agency leads the investigation. The Daniels family attorney will share more on an independent investigation tomorrow morning.
So we have a 18-year-old young man who left home on April 13th with 2 unidentified people. You've only arrested 1 for tampering with evidence. Let's let this sink in for just a moment. Again, he left home and didn't return home. 4 days later, you find his body. My question is, again, as the family has stated, Why are we unable to get transparency? One of the things that I've noticed in a lot of these cases, we're always met with pushback. We want answers. We want to know what happened. And then you have these quote unquote friends that are changing up stories. They say one thing, they say something else. But again, the families are still met with pushback. So again, Daniel Irving, 18 years old, your body is found in the water. And like they said in the video, no one called the police. You didn't call his parents. What I don't understand is, why did it take for the mother? If he left with these two individuals, if you're saying what happened to him was an accident, why didn't you call the police? Why didn't you alert somebody? That right there alone is enough to raise suspicions. If you leave with me and something happens to you, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to call 911. I'm going to try to get in touch with your family, your friends, somebody. But we're seeing this happen far too often with little to no justice. I'm looking at a lot of these cases where they're finding Black men hung from trees. Black people don't hang themselves from trees. And these stories, these cases are being ruled as suicides. Again, where is the transparency in all of this? And then some of these stories, Texas, Mississippi. Anyone that's familiar with Mississippi, you know they are so racist in Mississippi. We're looking at it right now with Nolan Wells. We're witnessing that. But now we're looking at Deion Irving. Again, this young man went missing in April. Why was there no media coverage? Why are we just now starting to hear about these stories? But yet, and I know people may take offense to this, but yet we're still hearing about Scott Peterson, who killed his pregnant wife. They got documentaries, and I'm just saying. And you could take this how you want. But our lives are just as important. That's not to discredit lives that have been lost, but I want to speak about the Black community and why we get little to no media coverage. I remember when my niece went missing. Her story was skated over by a woman and her dog that were found murdered in a park in Georgia. We were told, oh, it's nothing we could do. She's over 18. But Gabby Petito, who I think was about that same age, billboards, that was breaking news, interviews, everything. But when a black boy, a black girl, black man, or black woman goes missing, we get 20 seconds and that's it. You don't hear no more about it. I'm very surprised that Nolan Wells is getting as much coverage as he is. I'm very surprised. I'm very grateful because I hope that his case will blow the doors wide open for these other cases of these Black boys and Black girls that go on these social outings with their white friends, but they're not returning home to us. But a lot of y'all don't want to have that conversation. This could be your baby that I'm sitting up here talking about. This could be your nephew. This could be a cousin, a brother. Wouldn't you want someone to get up and speak? Wouldn't you want more media coverage? Wouldn't you want people out here? But we're not getting it. And that's the disheartening part about all of this. I am so glad that Nolan Wells is getting coverage. I am so happy. But I need that same energy to be held for Daniel Irving. I need that same energy to be held for Gerard Jackson, for Dion Walton. We want transparency. We're calling for transparency. We don't want to hear that, oh, well, there was no foul play. How do you know? Without a thorough investigation, how do you know? Again, talking about Daniel Irving, this baby went missing in April. And I just heard about this story about a week ago, maybe, when they arrested one guy for tampering with evidence. What is he saying? We understand it's an investigation. But again, this family has waited. We're in July. This baby went missing in April, May, June, July. Here we are almost 4 months later. And the parents are still left with questions. Questions. We're definitely going to get into Nolan Wells. Not today. I need a moment to process. I need a moment to process this with Nolan Wells. So we're definitely going to speak on him. But Daniel Irving, 18 years old, drowned. In Texas. I want to say not too far from the city where Carmelo Anthony was found guilty. Yeah. So Daniel Irving, again, 18 years old, went missing April 13th of 2026. His body was recovered April 17th. I believe 1 or 2 people have been arrested. I know one person was charged with tampering with evidence. And all he said was, it was an accident. Well, what was the accident? What happened? What did y'all do to him? And miss me with that, oh, he committed suicide. No. No. Miss me with that. I'm so sick. Let me tell y'all, I am so sick of hearing that narrative whenever they find a Black person hung somewhere or in the woods, or it was a suicide. No foul play. I'm still waiting on justice for Kendrick Johnson. That was the young man they found rolled up in a gym mat in Georgia. We're still waiting for justice for that family. Because let me tell you, there is nothing in this world that will make me believe that baby did that to himself. I believe that footage was altered because we see him go into the gym, but we don't see him come out. Then all of a sudden you find him head first, rolled up in a gym mat, and his shoes are missing. We're still waiting on justice for Kendrick Johnson. Still. Again, no media coverage. When deaths like this happen to our Black men and our Black women, our Black girls and our Black boys, we get zero coverage. I'm still waiting for answers on what happened to Tamala Horsford. That was that Black lady who went to this sleepover at her white neighbor's house, and somehow she ended up dead. Out of all the women that were there, she was the only one that ended up dead. The only one. So make this make sense to me. Make this all make sense to me. I don't believe that that woman went over there and committed suicide. They found this woman, I believe, at the bottom of the patio. Out of all the women at this slumber party, this sleepover, Tamala Horsford was the only one that passed away. The only one. Again, still no media coverage. Still no justice. You still have a family demanding answers. We haven't forgotten. At least I know I have not forgotten. And then we have all these black men that they have found hanging from trees. One young man, they found his legs were broken. So how could he climb up in a tree to hang himself if his legs were broken? This is making zero sense to me. All we're calling for and asking for is transparency. Black men, black women, black boys, and black girls deserve the same thorough investigation as the white counterparts. I said that. Some of y'all may not like that and say, oh, she's being racist. No, I'm not. I'm just being honest and telling you my views and how I feel. Black men, black women, black boys, and black girls deserve the same amount of media coverage and investigative work as the whites when they go missing. We hear about it for 2-3 weeks. Here we are. JonBenet Ramsey has been dead how many years? And we're still hearing about her. We're still hearing about Laci Peterson. Oh, they want to give Scott Peterson a new trial. Why? We know he did it. But this is what I mean when I say there's a difference. When black people go missing versus when white people go missing. White people get billboards. They get put on flyers. They get documentaries. But when it's one of us, we don't get that. If that's the type of things that we want, we have to spend our money. I'm still surprised that so much time and money was invested in Carlee Russell. And she turned out to be a bold-faced liar. I'm surprised. But with Carlee Russell, you made it even harder for black people that go missing to get any type of media coverage. You made it very difficult because you lied. You weren't even missing. You did all of that for what? But there are really, truly black boys, black girls, black men, and black women that are out here missing that's not being taken seriously. Again, Daniel Irving. Body was found April 17th after leaving home with 2 unidentified individuals, and his body was found in a lake. Again, I didn't hear it. I just heard about this case a week ago. Then we have another young man, Gerard Jackson, who was at an outing, a social outing with his white friends, and his body was found in the woods. But they're saying, oh, it was a suicide. Not every black person out here is suicidal. But Gerard Jackson, 28 years old, went to a concert. and Electric Fields, Michigan, I want to see. Let me get that pulled back up. I want to say that's where he was. June the 30th. So here we are. So it was in Michigan. So I was correct, in Michigan. 28 years old. He was from Illinois. He went to Fest. And they're saying, so I apologize. He was reported missing July 29th. Let me go back and see that. And they found him hanging in a tree. They say his wallet and his keys was left in the rental car. Make this make sense. They say, oh, preliminary, that he died from suicide. They said he was reported missing on June the 29th. They say his body was later found in a wooded area near his parked rental vehicle. And troopers responded to Jackson's campsite after he reported an alleged criminal incident involving a friend. They say he left his cell phone and other personal belongings behind. Let's double back on this one more time. So he calls the police on a friend to report a criminal activity. Okay? And then he winds up dead. After this alleged criminal incident that took place. They say he left behind his cell phone and his personal belongings. Do you see how a lot of these stories are in correlation with one another? Oh, they mysteriously left their cell phones behind. And let me tell you something, in this day and age, ain't nobody leaving without their cell phone. Nobody. I don't care what you say. Nobody. White, yellow, purple, black, orange, green, yellow. Nobody's leaving without their cell phone. Nobody. People in this world, let me tell you something. We can't even function in this world without our cell phones. Everybody you walk past has a cell phone in their hand. Everybody. But notice this seems to be the same MO in Daniel Irvin's case, Gerard Jackson's case, and Nolan Wells' case. In Daniel Irvin's case, they say, oh, well, we couldn't ping for privacy reasons. What? So you mean to tell me if you found this young man's body in the water, wouldn't common sense tell you again to ping wherever their last location was? But you go and you tell the family you can't ping it for privacy reasons. Doesn't sound like they're trying to do an investigation to me. Sounds to me they're trying to sweep this baby's murder under the rug. Then you look at Gerard Jackson, 28 years old, who went missing he was reported missing June 29th after a phone call to law enforcement for a criminal activity on a friend. And then this baby's body is found in the woods. And they say, oh, he left his cell phone, he left his personal belongings. I believe the keys and his wallet were in the car. Yeah. So that doesn't sound a little suspicious to you? That doesn't make you stop and question and say, wait a minute, this doesn't sound right. This is not adding up. Hmm. Hmm. So here's a little more information regarding Gerard Jackson. And then we'll dip back into this conversation.
A holiday quickly turning into a tragedy for a Covington County family who lost their loved one in a drowning just days ago on the 4th of July.
My apologies, y'all. The wrong story. Here we go.
Police are investigating the death of a man who attended the Electric Forest Music Festival near Rothbury. His body was found this morning along a trail near the festival grounds.
Police say the 28-year-old from Illinois died by suicide after leaving a group of friends and his personal belongings back at the festival.
13 on your side's Michael Martin joins us now after speaking with investigators and witnesses. Michael.
Juliet, Lauren, the day before his body was found in this wooded area, the man had been speaking with state police. Witnesses say it was a fairly normal conversation. He was trying to report a crime that police now say they don't believe ever happened.
Some people in the community are worried for it outrightly, as they should be, because you never know what you're going to see or go on.
After 4 days of music, art, connection at Electric Forest 2026.
It's a vacation for a lot of people, but we all have to come back to our friends and our families back home.
The body of a 28-year-old man from Illinois was found just off a trail several miles southeast of the grounds.
I had to go get a ride to drop some camping supplies off to some of the people I was with, and he was talking to state police officers.
The day before he's found, a few hours before he disappears, people like Hunter Rose see the man speaking with state police. MSP says the man had called them to report a crime. They investigated and say they found no evidence that the crime ever happened.
It seemed to be cordial and nothing seemed to be too wrong or anything. He was just reporting something.
Shortly after that, he took off in a rented vehicle, leaving his friends and cell phone behind.
We were just wondering what was going on with him, and I figured I'd let someone know I saw something, because you never know.
A reliable source close to the investigation tells 13 on your side the man's friends told investigators he had been up for nearly 48 hours and had been using substances when he left. The rental vehicle was found near the man's body, his wallet and keys still inside.
We have some looking back to do on certain things, I think, but Forest is a great place. Don't let a couple bad things bring it down as a whole. Just like other things going on, you never know.
State police said in a statement that they extend their sincere condolences to the man's family and loved ones during this difficult time. If you have information that you might believe could be relevant in any way to the case, you can reach out to state police. Michael Martin, 13 on your side.
So let's let that sink in for just a moment. You're saying he was having a conversation with the state police to report a crime against a friend or friends. They say, oh, they didn't find any evidence of a crime. Okay. But then a few hours later, he's missing. The friends say, oh, he's been up for 2 days on some kind of substance. Has there been an autopsy? That's what we're trying to figure out. Is there an autopsy? Other than the preliminary, where you say, oh, it was a suicide. But his wallet and keys were left in the car, and his body was found not too far from the vehicle. That doesn't sound suspicious to you? Again, I've seen no additional updates regarding this young man. Let me go back. Let me just double back. I'm on a seat. But no autopsy, no nothing. I'm looking. Give me just a moment. We're going to see. We know the family is demanding justice. They want a full investigation. This is just, how much more of this do we have to continue to endure? When are we going to start getting again? And I'm going to repeat this and I'm going to scream it from the rooftops. Why no justice when it comes to these mysterious deaths of our Black men, Black boys, Black women, and Black girls? Again, it's always ruled as a suicide. No foul play. Wasn't that the same thing they said with Nolan Wells? And now look. Conflicting stories, text messages deleted. Let's see. We have so Gerard Jackson says soon after reporting to his friend group, it says Jackson moved himself away from the group after reported missing. It says at this time, a final report from the medical examiner is waiting to be released to determine the cause of death. But we know what they're going to say. It was a suicide. We know. They say it all the time. When our Black men and Black boys go missing. That's what we see. And that's what we hear every time. But at what point do y'all say our lives matter? Again, I don't want to hear but y'all kill each other. We know this. But one thing that we do know is justice is always served. Because we know Ray Ray shot Pookie. We know that. Ray Ray gets sentenced to the fullest extent of the law. But when you have a Jared or a Tommy that unalives one of us, it's foul play. Their family members are related to a judge, or they're somehow connected to someone in a higher position that wants to sweep this under the rug. But at what point do we stop allowing them to do this? At what stands do we finally come together and say enough is enough? We need justice for our Black boys, our Black girls, our Black men, and our Black women. When are we going to come together and start demanding this? When are we going to stop accepting the bare minimum when it comes to what these medical examiners and what these police officers and these crime scene investigators tell us? We just say, oh, okay, well, yeah, it was a suicide. You're just going to lay down and take that? No. Again, at what point are we going to finally come together and demand justice? Why haven't we come together to get justice for Kendrick Johnson? Why haven't we come together to get justice for Tamala Horsford? Again, you have families that are still left with unanswered questions. You have families that are still out 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years later, still trying to figure out what happened to my loved one. Especially when they've been out at social gatherings with their white friends. We're seeing this way too often. And yet everybody's wanting to be silent. Everybody's willing to just take whatever they tell you. Oh, well, he died from suicide. Okay. We have to stop being so quick to say, accepting of whatever they tell us. If this is your child, if this is your loved one, you should want justice. And you shouldn't stop fighting. Push for it to be on the news stations. Push for it to be on get on social media. I'm encouraging y'all, if you see a story like this that's in your city, in your town, your state, we can't see everything. Start sharing. Because that's the only way we're going to be able to take a stance is if we know about this. We have to start rallying together. We have to start coming together for things that make sense. Stop standing in line for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours for an iPhone or some Jordans or whatever new item that's coming out. And let's go stand at these polls. Let's go stand up at these at these hearings, these public hearings. Most importantly, we got to go to the polls. Because it starts at the lower level. If you want to see a change in your city, in your town, in your state, you got to go to the polls. You understand? You got to vote. We are the people responsible for putting these judges in their seats, for putting these chief of police in their positions, for these city councilmen. We're responsible for that. When you get a summons for jury duty, go. Stop saying, oh, I don't want to go to jury duty. Why? That's the only way we're going to be able to make a difference. But we're so forgiving that we just take whatever they tell us. I'm not accepting the fact that Gerard Jackson committed suicide because it's too mysterious that after he reported a suspicious crime to the group of friends that he was with to the police, this baby ends up dead. You have Daniel Irvin, 18 years old, who left his home April 13th with 2 unidentified people. Again, we don't know if it was 2 males, 2 females, a male and a female. We don't know. 4 days later, this baby's body is found. And the police tell the family, oh, well, we can't track the opinion for privacy issues. What? If this baby's body was found out here in the water, where was he at prior? You don't think that's imperative to the investigation? You don't feel like that's not imperative to the family? And then we look at Nolan Wells. Text messages deleted. Kids' stories are changing. But y'all are willing to just sit back and just take whatever. No. When are we going to start standing up for our black boys, our black girls, our black men, our black women? When are we going to start standing up for that? When are we going to start pushing us to the forefront? When are we going to start pushing these stories to the forefront? Again, here we are 20-something years later, and we're still hearing about JonBenet Ramsey. Here we are 10 years later, however many years, we're still hearing about Laci Peterson. That don't make you sick? That don't make you upset? We've heard nothing more about Tamala Horsford. We've heard nothing about Daniel Irving. We've heard nothing about Gerard Jackson. We still hear nothing about Kendrick Johnson. What about the other young lady who they found drowning? I want to say she had went out with her babysitter, her white babysitter, and this little girl was found dead in the water? If you could get, this is the issue that I have with social media. Social media could be a good and a bad thing. But some of the shit that y'all, excuse my language, but some of the stuff that y'all post, but y'all won't post about these black boys that are missing, these black girls that are missing, these black women that are missing, these black men that are missing. But y'all always have so much to say when we finally do hear about it. But yet you do nothing. You do nothing but sit and complain. You won't go to the polls and vote, because I've seen quite a few of them on my Facebook timeline. Oh, I'm not voting. My vote doesn't matter anyway. I'm not going to jury duty. Oh, okay. You're not. Well, then don't complain when you could have made a difference. Don't complain when that particular person is the chief of police. Stop complaining when this particular person is the judge. Stop complaining when this person is on the city council or your school board. Don't complain. Because remember, your voice don't matter. Remember, that's what you say. But then you get up here and you hoop and holler and you say, oh, we got to do this, we got to do that. Well, then if you're not doing anything, you're a part of the problem. See, let me tell you something about me. I've never had a problem with shaking the table. I've never had a problem with putting things on the forefront. I've never had an issue with putting things on a table that are uncomfortable for a lot of people. Because, see, y'all don't want to offend. I don't mind. See, I get out here and I do this. I vote. Even at the lower level. I get up here and I have these conversations. Some that y'all shy away from. Because, again, you don't want to offend. But one thing about me, I'm always stand for the ones that look like me before I stand for anyone else. And you could take that how you want. But I'm going to protect me. I'm going to look out for me. And those that look like me. I want justice for Nolan Wells. I want justice for Gerard Jackson. I want justice for Daniel Irving. Because you know why? Gerard Jackson could have been my son. Daniel Irving could have been my son. Nolan Wells could have been my son. Dion Walton could have been my son. He could have been your son. He could have been your brother. He could have been your cousin. But you don't say anything. Because you don't want to offend. Don't you think we're offended when these stories come out? And again, we get little to no media coverage. As I said, when my niece went missing, her story was passed over for a woman and a dog that were found dead in a park. You don't think we didn't try to fight with the police? You know what they told us? Well, she's over 18. She's an adult. We can't do anything. Bet. Police knew who to go look for. You think they did? No. And not only did he kill her, but he murdered another young lady, and it could be others out there. But this is what we do. I bring these topics and conversations to the forefront so we can talk about them, so we can discuss them. We have to have these conversations because it's too many of our children that are leaving out, but they're not coming back home. Nolan Wells could be your son. You could be that parent standing on the other side of that podium begging and crying for justice because your child passed under mysterious circumstances. Let me tell you something. I don't want no high-powered attorneys out there. I don't want none of that. I want my community to rally with me. So I'm asking y'all, this could be your baby. This could be your son, your nephew, your cousin. Start speaking out. Stop being so afraid to offend. I don't want to because I don't want people. What? I'm going to have this conversation. Because at the end of the day, I believe Black men deserve to grow old. And again, I've had this conversation before, and you know what I've heard? Again, but Black men kill each other. They're killing each other. We know this. You don't think we don't know? You don't think we're not tired of that either? But one of the things that we're very tired of is that when Jeffrey or Michael or Paul kills Daniel or Gerard or Nolan, we get no justice. Or when Brett kills Kendrick, it's an accident. It's suicide. Stories ain't matching up. Timeline ain't coming out like it's supposed to. But this is what we see every day. I tell my son every day when he goes out with his friends, be careful. Make it back home to me. We got parents right now wondering what happened to their child. They're wondering. But nobody wants to have that conversation. Y'all keep saying enough is enough, this needs to stop. Then what are you going to do? Just keep posting about it on social media? Are you going to really get up and do something? Are you really going to get up and be a part of their community? Are you going to be a part of the problem or a part of the solution? That's the $1 million question. Because again, you could be sitting on the other side of that podium begging for justice for your child. Calling on the community to come and help and rally. See, I'm not new to this. I do this. Do I post and brag about it on social media? No. For what? Not everything needs a video camera. Not everything needs to be recorded. But the few times that I have shared, y'all have seen me at these rallies, protesting, marching. Because I got to think about mine. I have 3 children, 3 Black children. So I'm going to do whatever I have to do to stand up for them, for their rights. Not just theirs, but your child's rights. So I get out here and this is what I do. I have these conversations. I'm not afraid. Y'all don't want to do it because you don't want to offend nobody. Y'all just post what looks good on social media. But y'all not really about that. Yes, I'm calling y'all out. Again, do you want to be a part of the problem or a part of the solution? We have to start demanding things. We have to stop settling for whatever it is they tell us. Again, I look at Gerard Jackson's case. This young man was 28 years old. I look at Daniel Irving, 18 years old. I look at Dion Walton, 17 years old, drowned in a lake. No media coverage. And he died the same weekend as Nolan Wells. Yeah. 17. Here we go.
A holiday quickly turning into a tragedy for a Covington County family who lost their loved one in a drowning just days ago on the 4th of July. WDHN's Robert Smith Jr. has the latest.
The stomachs of Jason Walton and John Walden turned after they were at the store getting food to grill out for the holiday when they got a frightening call from their nephew, Dion Walton's football coach, that he went missing in a community lake.
He was like, hey, Jason, where you guys are? I was like, well, we just got home from the grocery store. And he was like, you guys need to get here ASAP. And I was like, well, what do you mean? And he was like, it's involving Dion.
They went to the community lake off Harmony Church Road in Covington County, where Walton was with some of his teammates celebrating the holiday.
We seen like all these police is there, and then we pulled into the driveway on the side of the house, and then I saw the rescue squad. They were boat divers searching out there in the water. I'm like, why are all these people out here? And so I parked the car and I ran to the dock quick. And I was like, well, one of the parents came up. I said, what's going on?
His family says they were told Walton and some friends jumped off the pier into the lake to see who could swim to a small island in the middle of the lake the fastest. But Dion struggled as he was cramping in the water. After turning back towards the pier, calling for help, trying to grab onto a floaty, he was already starting to sink underwater.
The parent that owned the home, he said he rushed out there to the pond and he jumped in to try to look for him, and all the other players turned around and tried to search for him, and they just could not find him. And I was just, I don't know, it's a lot. It's not even real. Don't even seem real to me.
Family says Dion was a mediocre swimmer and he was used to pools, but not lakes where you can't see the bottom. Although this is a tragedy, family says there is one message that comes out of this.
Be careful. You don't want to put a message out there that says, hey, don't get in there on this holiday or you may suffer these consequences. That's not the message. The message is be careful and try to take precautions in everything that you do. Maybe, if I'd have known, maybe get a life raft.
His uncles say his teammates loved Dion. To know him was to love him. He was a 17-year-old student at Strawn High School who ran track, played football, and basketball.
He just had, so much of, a brightness, a future ahead of him. And it just sucks that it happened, what happened on Saturday, and he had so much more to give.
Family says he was full of energy and life. He loved to rap and sing.
Be acting, but that's a teenager. But he brings them in with that smile and that laugh. And that's what most people will remember and miss all.
The school will have a vigil in memory of him Friday night. In Covington County, Robert Smith, WDHN News for the Wiregrass.
It just, all these black boys. Just devastates me. It's one of the reasons why I think I pray so hard over my children, is because I see what's going on out here in the world. And these kids are just not making it back home. What should be a night of fun somehow ends in a night of tragedy. What do we do? Where do we go from here? What can we do now, proactively? How do we truly seek justice for these children when there's lack of transparency, when there's conflicting stories, when when text messages are being deleted? They keep asking us, do we care? Do y'all care? It hurts my heart when I see these stories, knowing that I myself was on the other end of social media, asking social media to help find my niece. and only a handful of people shared. But then when I expressed that she had been found but was deceased, then it was, oh my God, we're so sorry. It's the help of convenience is what I call it. But when it's one of your loved ones, then it's, oh, please help, please help, please help. Stop picking and choosing who to help. Again, I'm so grateful that Nolan Wells' family is getting the coverage and praying that they receive the justice that they so righteously deserve. I continue to pray over the family of Daniel Irving. I pray that your baby gets justice. For the family of Gerard Jackson, I pray your family gets justice. I pray that Kendrick Johnson's family will one day get justice. For Tamala Horsford's family, I pray you get justice. For the countless other families who've lost their loved ones in mysterious manners, I pray you get justice. I will always stand on the side of Black men deserving to grow old. This is heavy. And it hurts. My brother says we have to rewire our current way of thinking in this new society. Absolutely. Because the justice for this family is so deserving. Again, Kendrick Johnson has been gone. Let me see, I'm going to tell you. Kendrick Johnson has been gone since 2013. 13 years later. And this family still has got no justice. We look at Tamala Horsford. Tamala Horsford has been missing. Here we go. 2018. Almost 6 years. They're saying that this young woman was intoxicated and fell from a balcony. But her official cause of death was ruled as multiple blunt force injuries. They say from an accidental fall. But again, Tamala Horsford was at a sleepover with 7 white women. And you mean to tell me she was the only one that died? But no one can seem to say what happened. Oh, she was drunk. She fell. If this is your friend, why didn't you make sure she got in the bed or got upstairs or wherever it was that you ladies were sleeping? You have a family still waiting for justice. You do. And then you have this beautiful, beautiful, let me tell you. Let's see. With her babysitter. I believe she was 13 or 10. Let me see if I can find the story. Here she is. She was 11 years old. Angelique Cunningham is this baby's name. Angelique Cunningham. I couldn't remember the baby's name. But Angelique Cunningham is her name. Let me pull this up really quickly. And this was July the 6th. Because what I want to know is why at that time of night, I want it's nighttime. Take an 11-year-old child on a boat ride. On the night of July 1st. Why? They say it was consistent with drowning. But they say it's accidental. So again, the woman was only charged with felony child endangerment. But again, make this make sense to me. Because who in their right mind would take an 11-year-old child on a boat ride at 11 o'clock at night? Something suspicious about that. I pray for Angelique Cunningham's family, that justice is served, that the truth will come out about what really happened with this baby. Because out of the 3 people that were on the boat, only 1 lived. But that's just me. Maybe that's my warped, twisted way of thinking, maybe overthinking. I don't know. But again, I'm still trying to make it make sense as to why this 11-year-old baby was on a boat ride at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. But hey, who am I? I'm just a podcaster. So tonight's episode will continue. There will be a part 2. Because I really want to get into the Nolan Wells case and speak about the updates that we have regarding this young man's autopsy and the undetermined cause of death. I want to know your thoughts. How do you feel? Do you feel like it's something suspicious? Do you feel like maybe this was an accident? Or do you just not feel anything at all? Hold on to those questions. Because we definitely have to have a part 2 of this. Because again, I really, 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 truly want to get into this about Nolan Wells. Because this case rings near and dear into my heart. But you hold that. So as I bring tonight's episode to a close, I want to end by saying to my Black men, you are so wanted. You are so needed. You are so loved. You are greatness. You're spectacular. You're phenomenal. You're imperfectly perfect. But most importantly, I love you. And I do want to see my Black men grow old. I want to see my brothers with their grandchildren, great-grandchildren, live long, beautiful lives, flourish in your careers, reach every limit possible. That's what I want to say to my Black men. Because you're great. You're phenomenal. I don't even think there's enough words in the dictionary to even describe Black men. Some of y'all get on my nerves. Some of y'all do stuff you ain't got no business. But you know what? I love you anyway. And to my Black men, I got you. I walk with you. I stand with you. I open up a circle of safety for you Black men. Take care of yourself. Because regardless, and I've said this so many times, regardless of what the world says, regardless of what society says about Black men, I still love you. I still honor you. I still cherish you. Yes, I will uphold you in your wrongdoing, but I'm going to love you in the midst of all of that. Because you Black men deserve that. The world is so unkind to y'all. And I don't like that. Black men, you rock. Not just the Black girls rock, but you Black men, you rock. I love you. God bless you. So tomorrow night, we're going to kick it off early because I know we're probably going to be talking about Nolan. I know we're going to be discussing Nolan Wells, and I know this is going to be a very, very, very deep and imperative conversation. But I want y'all to stay with me. I want y'all to continue to like, share, comment, subscribe. Tell your friends what we do over here on Black Girl Interrupted Podcast. Don't forget there are house rules. You will be respectful on this platform. If you're not respectful, I will remove you. I will give you a fair warning. If I have to tell you again, I will remove you. And then if I have to tell you again, I will block you. Tomorrow night's conversation is very imperative that we have. Because we're seeing this story happen over and over and over and over and over again. And nothing is done. So it's time for us to take a stand. Now it's time for us to start standing up and stop falling for anything and everything that they tell us. We have to start demanding justice. And when I say demanding justice, you have to be willing to roll and walk and through the trenches. Because this could be your child. This could be your loved one that I'm sitting up here having a conversation about. But tomorrow night, we're going to start at 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We will be really getting into the Nolan Wells case and everything that has come to light thus far. Happy Wednesday, everybody. I hope everyone has an amazing night. I hope you have an amazing evening. May your Thursday be blessed and full of joy. May whatever worried you today not worry you tomorrow. I want y'all to take care of yourself. Take care of your mental. And just know that I love you and I'm rooting for you. So I'll see you tomorrow night, Thursday, July 23rd, 7 p.m. Central Time, streaming live to Facebook as well as YouTube. But I love y'all. Have an amazing night, and I'll see you tomorrow.